Hey guys, I want to apologize for the homemade video, but I needed to do this quickly, and so here we go. I want to give you a quick report, hopefully 7-8 minutes. I hope you'll watch all of this. It's not 45 minutes like my last one. I want to give praise to God for what He's doing. For your prayers and make one more plea. So here we go. Praise. Hey, the $35,000 that I was praying for, that I asked you and many others to contribute towards, we received all of it. $25,000 for COVID, $10,000 to buy Walter and Irene and their family a house. They lost their mom. We can only send $30,000 a month to Uganda, and so it will probably take about till July, August before Walter and Irene have their home, but they will be moving into it within the next couple of months, and we hope to see it soon. Also, every single one of their siblings received a sponsor. And speaking of sponsorship, our sponsorships have increased by 33 students just in the last 6 weeks. So God is at work. Just yesterday, I wanted to let you know I booked a ticket for my wife and Emily Howard, our administrative assistant, to travel to Uganda for about 20 days. Emily had already paid for her ticket from last March, that trip was canceled. And she bought a ticket for my wife, and so they're going at their own expense, but their primary mission is to be there to connect with all the students. They want to see every single one of our students if possible and get updated, not just pictures and videos, but updated information to help establish that connection, and because we've just been disconnected through this recent time. You know that I truly believe in this ministry and what God is doing through our schools, especially because the kids that are being raised in our school, they're not only getting a quality education, but they're having an opportunity to learn about the Lord and have a chance at an extremely different life because of that. And we have 15 grades in our schools, preschool, primary, high schools, that are in our schools right now. But I made a mistake when I began this ministry. I think I did, in hindsight. My heart was in the right place, but I told you and always said that if your student leaves our school and goes to another school in Kampala because their family moves, or if we can reach them, your sponsorship will follow your student. My heart was in the right place, but what we've discovered and learned is that this is creating lots of problems. One problem is that we don't always know if that student is showing up for school because they're not in our schools. Another problem is we can't get good academic reports as far as are they testing well. Some of them are not Christian schools. And the biggest problem we've run into lately is these are not nonprofit schools like ours. They're charging more and more money than our school. In fact, what we want to do, here's the vision. This is the big change. You know about our boarding section, that we have about 50 beds right there, and about 50 kids that live with us 9 months a year. We give them 3 meals a day. They go to church. They're being discipled. And boarding section is the preferred method of schooling in Uganda. Most who can afford it send them to that. Well, here's our vision. What we want to do is we want to try to bring some of those students that are now in all those other schools, bring them back to our school if we can. Not every single one, but as many as we can. And one of the reasons I want you to see this, in our boarding section, we charge $260 a term. That's $65 a month. And some of you are paying close to that right now for your student going to other schools because they're trying to make money. And again, we don't have control. So we're going to approach and try to bring those back into our schools. But in order to do that, we have to expand our boarding section. And that's where our prayer comes in. That's where our plea comes in right now. You remember in my report, I showed you where the boarding section was located. Well, this piece of property right adjacent to our boarding section, we can acquire this, okay? It is for sale right now. It's going to cost us $35,000. Now, that's a lot of money. Good news is that we don't need to come up with all of it, and the owner's willing to let us take possession of the land for about half of that, if we can just kind of get that down payment and then pay the rest off in installments. And again, $35,000 may sound like a lot, and it is. But when we bought this church property 10 years ago, we paid $60,000 for it. So that's why we built our village out of town, because the cost of land in Kampala is so expensive. Now, you might notice this roof is concaved. In inspecting these buildings, to be honest, they're dilapidated. So the value of the land is there, but we're going to probably take down most, if not all, of these buildings. And what we want to do is build something with the same quality that our current school is, that our church is, with deep foundations, steel frames that can go up. And just the first floor and foundation will cost us $20,000. And so that will make it available for kids to move in. That doesn't include the cost of beds or mattresses, but we can expand in future years, second story, third story. We could have 200 kids living in our boarding section in the future, but we're just going to try to start with an additional 50 or so. Hey, I'm cutting in the video right now because I forgot to tell something in my first take, and that is we have somebody who has given $10,000 for matching donations. That means if you're able to give right now, your $5,000 will become 10, your $2,000 will become 4. Anything you give, they will match up to $10,000. So that should get us the $20,000 we need to actually buy the piece of property and start taking the items down. So here's our plan. We want to secure this land for the expansion. Again, I'm praying to be able to send them $30,000 next month and another $30,000 the month after. And if we're able to do that, here's the good news, is students begin the new year in August. That's when they're promoted up. And what we want to do is contact those students. Not all of them, some of them it would be detrimental to move. They've gone through them. But most of them, to give them a choice. Look, if you want your sponsorship to continue, we're not going to keep paying for you to walk to this expensive for-profit school. Come live in our boarding section and be in our school. And so that's what we're going to do. I believe that most of those parents will say, hallelujah, we would love to have our kids in boarding section. And so, but some may not. Some may say, nope, I don't want my kids. Maybe they're Muslims and they don't want their kids in a Christian school. That's their choice. So what does this mean? How does this affect you? Number one, you may lose your student. In other words, your student I may be approaching some of you in a couple of months and saying, hey, your student has chosen not to come. Would you consider taking another student? Others of you, I may ask you to pray about increasing your giving to that $65 a month fee for boarding section so your student can be in our boarding section. But if you can't afford that, then I'll ask you to share. You can pay half of that, $32.50. Maybe we can find another sponsor we actually have many students right now who have more than one sponsor. And so that's what we're going to ask. That's how it might affect you. If you can give towards this, again, the first $10,000 of gifts we receive will be doubled because we have one of our leaders, one of our team members has put forward $10,000 to help this start. Just write boarding section on the memo line. If you're on the automatic pay donation program, email me and we can add a one-time gift, whatever amount you want. If every single one of our sponsors was able to give a couple $100, we'd have $30,000. So would you pray about helping us? And even if you can't, would you pray for this need? This could be transformational for the students, for ministry. Finally, I just want to say, come to Uganda. We hope and are making plans right now. The trip will be in March of next year. It will be a 12-day trip. We leave on a Thursday. We will come back the 2 weeks Tuesday. You'll probably need 2 days to rest, so plan a couple weeks out of your life. That's the figure I always tell people. You need to kind of budget that much. But come visit your student, come see the new boarding section, and thank you for praying for us.